So one of the things that I'm seeing is a lot of contact or emails from companies that claim to have AI analytics tools, which means that business users can now just ask the tool in natural language a question, and it will analyze the data and return the results. Now, does this mean that these tools will solve the self-service analytics problem? In another video, I talk about how self-service is actually a myth because, what happens is business buy tools like business intelligence tools like Power BI, like Tableau, like Click, and they think that will mean that business users will just go and get the answers themselves. But what they eventually find is that they always need analysts, because business users don't really want to be clicking and dragging on reports to come up with answers. They just like to ask someone and let that person, typically the analyst, answer the question for them. Now, in these emails, I'm getting companies saying that they're using tools, generative AI tools like ChatGPT, where business users can just ask the question, it will go off, analyze the data, and then come back with the answer. So is this a reality? Is this a possibility that these AI tools can actually finally solve the self-service analytics problem? So the main thing that these tools will solve is actually allowing business users to ask in natural language a question. So normally what happens is when you have a dashboard and they're clicking and dragging to create that dashboard, or they're running filters, they need to know sort of what they want to do. And sometimes, visualizing data in tabular graph format is not for everyone. So that's always been a barrier. But with generative AI, with ChatGPT type like functionalities, they can just ask it. They can type in and say, I want to see the sales for the last 12 months, okay? And that prompt will go off, run a query, and bring back the results. And then they can say, I want to see it in a graph format, in a bar chart, line chart. I want to see it in a table, whatever you want. And the generative AI can interpret that prompt into something that can be represented in a dashboard. So that's going to be one thing that's really good, is that it can use natural language, which means that there's a less barrier for normal business users to interact with the data. The other challenge of self-service analytics is that once you get back the report or the dashboard, you have further questions, and unless you know how to query the data, you have to always go to an analyst to ask for that. Well, now if you're engaging with a generative AI like ChatGPT, all you're doing is asking further questions. So you might say, oh, thank you for sending me the 12 months of data. Can you query March, because that looks unusual? I'd like that separated by channel. Okay, so it will take March's data and separate it by channel. So all it's doing is taking the user's prompt, translating it into a query, analyzing the data, and returning it back in the format that the user wants. And that means that the user doesn't have to go to an analyst or a data analyst to ask the question. They can do it in this analytics tool. Finally, if they end up with an analysis that they like and they need on a regular basis, they can just ask the AI analytics tool to automate that report. So they could say, potentially, run this report every Monday morning at 9 o'clock and email it to me, or update this dashboard. And the AI tool will do that. Again, all it's doing is taking prompts, turning it into a query, and then executing that query and returning it in the format that the user wants. So that means that in some respects, if you've got all your data cleaned, you've got all your data governance in place, if you've got your data pipelines in place, then in theory, the business could do self-service analytics. Now, a lot of these functions have been available in things like Power BI for a while, but they've not been as sophisticated as the application of generative AI on these tools. So what I'm seeing from these tools, from these companies that are emailing me saying, would you like to look at our tools, is that they've got something there. And now, obviously, it will only be proven if they're useful is once they've been deployed in organizations where they currently don't have self-serve analytics. But one of the things that I do think will be a barrier to that is I still think that a lot of business users, especially senior executives or managers, they don't actually want to see a dashboard. They'd like someone to summarize it. And again, AI could help with this, because it could summarize the data and put it into a text format, or it could read it out to the person, or it could email it to the person. So there are ways you can solve it, but obviously it will need deployment in the real world to see how users interact with it and how comfortable they are with the data. Now, obviously we've heard of the models or the AI hallucinating, which essentially means it makes stuff up. But I think that's less of a risk with data, because when you have data very organized in column structure, it's much harder for the model to hallucinate, okay? Because you're asking it very sort of mathematical and statistical questions, which I'd hope that there'll be less error. Now, the summarization of that information may have some hallucination, some error, so you may need to put a warning in there saying, look, you need to make sure that you check the raw data with these. And maybe, you know, 1 in every 10, 1 in every 20 reports that goes out, the data analyst checks. So do I think that AI could solve the self-service analytics? I actually do. I think what I'm seeing, especially with tabular organized data that's been cleaned, that the data pipelines work very well, that the connections to the source systems are very good. If you have a very good infrastructure, a very good data platform, a very good data warehouse, then what you will find is that deploying these AI tools to make it easier for the business user to self-serve is possible. Now, I say this as one very big caveat, and that is, if you don't have your data in order, okay, then the AI won't know that, okay? What normally happens in these organizations is that the analyst is the overseer of the quality of the data. So when they run the report, if they see something unusual, they'll usually go and investigate and find out why, what that happened. Now, the AI can have some built-in rules, and you know, you have data quality rules as well that can trigger off alerts saying data is not as expected. The AI could also have similar sort of rules to trigger off any warnings about the data quality issue. But actually, if you don't have your data in very good order, then you're always going to need an analyst in the process. Now, it may mean that the analyst does less because 80, 70, 80% of your data is very good. So those reports go out, the 20, 30% that's not good, the analyst has to oversee what the AI does. So if you are looking into these tools, just bear in mind that even though they can do the output, just make sure the quality and accuracy of that output is good. And the only way to do that is just to validate what the AI produces against what a human query would do. Once you've done a few of those and you are comfortable and you know potentially where there may be some room for errors or hallucinations, as they call them, then you just want to be wary of that. But otherwise, there should be nothing stopping you using these tools. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. And if you are going down the route of looking for a self-service AI analytics tool, then, you know, just bear these cautions in mind, but also, you know, like I said, I think these tools have great potential. Thank you for watching the video. Please do share and like the video. Please share my channel with all your friends and colleagues, and keep coming back. Hope to produce more videos. Thank you.